Hey guys, a lot of you have probably seen, really watching a pay-per-view, you're in person at a tournament playing league, stuff like that. You see a situation where a player, they want to kick two rails like here, and up to put the 2-9 in. I call this kicking around the corner. There might be a different name for it, a better name for it. But you see players up here with their stick and measuring and moving around, and maybe you don't know exactly what it is they're doing. I'm going to tell you what they're doing. What they're doing is they're finding the halfway point between the cue ball and the ball they want to hit. They're finding that halfway point. In this case, this example I set up, that's my halfway point right there. They're visualizing it. They're not getting out a tape measure and a tournament stuff. They're visualizing it generally. And they're holding their cue over that halfway point and pointed at the corner that they're going to kick around. They do that, and this is the hardest part for me. They bring the cue over parallel until it is over the top of the cue ball. They don't do like I usually do and go like this, or like this. No, they keep it parallel. And if they do that, they feel like they did that right, hit this shot without any side spin. And don't baby it and don't slam it. Obviously, you want to hit it hard enough to come around and be able to put the 9 in. This is a Diamond Professional Blue Label table. Simonis 860 cloth that is in decent shape. Balls that are decently clean. These all matter for this kind of shot because these shots can be very picky. I might miss that 2 ball by an eighth of an inch. And it's very, very frustrating. Just try my damnedest to not put any side spin on this and hit it along this line that I determined by doing this. Straight along that line, and then try and see what happens. And, it's better than nothing. It's not a perfect system. So thanks for that. And then what I wanted to do was do that little intro part for people that basically just Googled how to two-rail kick a shot. There are some adjustments that I feel like have to be made, that I have to make. Again, my stroke, my table, things like that. If I need to do the same thing, I don't think the 9 is going to go this time. But now I want to kick around the same corner, but obviously come in a lot tighter and hit the 2. So I get this lined up so at least has a chance to go in. So find the halfway point between the cue ball and where I want the cue ball to be, pointed at the thing, still coming over till the stick is over the cue. In a case like this, for me, when it's coming into this first rail this shallow, I need to make a little bit of adjustment and aim the cue ball a little bit further that way. Again, no English. No, I didn't have the throw set up right, but I wasn't really trying to. So if it's coming in shallow, and I don't know if it's, where the dividing line is. This is, like I said, this is a diamond blue label. A diamond red label is absolutely going to be different. A gold crown is going to be different. On my table, I need to make that adjustment if it's coming in shallow like this. If I want to have a shot like the one that I just did, I didn't seem to need to do it today, but a lot of times if it's going to come in, well, let's set it up like this. If it's going to come in steep to this first rail steep, like remember before, I said shallow. If it's going to come in steep, I have to make an adjustment typically. I actually have to move this cue ball a little bit too because I have to hit this with some English. I have to put some English on a shot if it's going to come in steep. Calculate it out the same way. 1, 2, 3 diamonds different. So I need to go 1.5. There's my halfway spot right there. Hold my cue over that halfway spot, pointed at that same corner. Come over parallel. It's coming into that first row pretty steep this time. And what I found is a lot of times I have to put some right run English. So I'm going to hit this about 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock. Same speed and everything. I missed the ball by, remember, a couple minutes ago I said, you missed the ball by like an eighth of an inch. It's honestly pretty frustrating, but I might have aimed that perfectly. Just didn't stroke it perfectly. Not exactly perfectly consistent. This time I'm going to try to do the exact same thing and hit it at about 2 o'clock, not at 1:30. And do it like that. That's what I have to do to make adjustments on shots like this. A shot that you will see a lot if you watch a lot of One Pocket, and these guys are just unbelievably good at this kind of shot. We just imagine there's a whole bunch of balls. But if I'm playing somebody and this is their pocket here, they're going to try their damage to leave me like right here, where I'm basically screwed. It's hard to kick in one rail like this. It's hard to come up here, even though you're probably going to make it. But they're very good at kicking 2 rails on a shot like this. I'm not nearly as good. And yeah, to be honest, a lot of these people are doing it kind of by feel. The One Pocket players are typically, older players, stuff like that. Not always. I'm really generalizing on that statement, but they're just really good at it. I'm just jealous. So don't take the halfway point between the cue ball and the 10. Take the halfway point between the cue ball and maybe about right here on the rail, because that's what you want the cue ball to do. It's coming like this in this situation. So find that halfway point, come over. This ball is going to be hit a lot softer because I'm coming in that first rail pretty steep. I'm going to put a little bit of left on it, not as much. I hit that way too hard. Did you notice that? That I mentioned like 30 seconds ago, I'm not even good at this shot. I'm really not. But it's not stopping me from working on it. I'm not going to put any side spell on this shot at all this time. And one more time, just for sake of completeness. Yeah, I did hit it twice. So that's safe-ish, whatever. I mentioned that a lot of times the One Pocket players are like older players, more experienced players, and they're kind of doing this kind of stuff by feel. The information I've talked about here is readily available now. It's on the internet. This is one such example of this information being on the internet. It used to not be that way. Even a little bit before, when I started playing pool players are having to walk uphill through the snow to the pool hall. And there's only 2 ways they're ever going to learn something. They're going to learn something from watching the guy that's kicking their ass and taking all their money, or one of their peers is going to tell them something, and that something they tell them may be absolutely wrong. It may be wrong. No, but they did it. They dealt with it. Back then, they were men. Even the women were men back then. And they had to learn things the hard way. Nowadays, they don't. They can learn things, like from the internet, as well as other sources, watching pool players, things like that. They often aren't trying to just flat out rob them. They're just trying to win the game. I was kind of lucky when I first started playing. I was kind of at the tail end of that whole never tell anybody any secret, never share any knowledge. I was kind of at the end of that era. And I happened to run into a guy at the base Iowa Station who was very knowledgeable, very good player. and perfectly willing to share his knowledge as long as we played for beers. And he never had to buy beer as long as I was there, probably, because I paid for them all. But that 2-rail kick going around this way, going around this way, can get people out of an awful lot of jams. And it can win some games, like the first example that I had. It can win some games as well. Some people are so unbelievably good at it that I may never, ever, ever get to that level. Some of the guys, the snooker guys, will shoot. And I don't know exact layouts for snooker, okay? But they'll get into a situation like this, and they'll kick 2 rails and skim that 5 and get the cue ball back up here to ball. That seems pretty unlikely that I would ever do that. But I can probably hit that 5, find that halfway point, try to come over parallel, no spin, hit it straight. Oh, that was a good shot. The snooker guys don't do that. They fan that 5 on purpose and come all the way up here. Anyway, I'm glad I at least hit the 5 that time. I think it's interesting. I think it's like most shots that I'm not super good at, I need to practice them. If I was already super good at them, I wouldn't need to practice them. And I think most people that are trying to be better pool players are the same way. The trick is finding enough stuff that you're not any good at, that you're not practicing the same thing over and 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 getting bored to tears with it. Find some variety. I have millions of things that I need practice on. So I will always have variety. Thanks, guys.